What is up? What's going on? My name is Arvin, and welcome to Driven to Draw. Today's topic is going to be about acquiring the drawing mindset. So how do we end up acquiring the mindset to be able to go after something that we want to do, especially if it's in the arts, or especially if it's wanting to be creative in some way, shape, or form? And one of the things that we are going to be discussing here are the 4 Ds to success. And I call this the driven maven attitude. And I'm going to define to you what a driven maven is, and then what's the attitude that you need in order to succeed in not only drawing, but actually maybe even life, in whatever it is that you're trying to do. So we got the 4 Ds, and it's called drive, determination, discipline, and draw. Obviously, that third one, draw, you can replace that with something else. As far as any kind of expertise that you're looking to master. So before I even start off talking about what the 4 Ds mean and how to acquire that mental attitude, we're going to kick off by talking about some really fantastic things that are happening in the news. Namely, some of these Kickstarter projects that are really taking grip and just exploding. So there was an article the other day that I read about an individual, a designer, or actually I should say an entrepreneur named Ryan Grepper, who on Kickstarter made a product called the Coolest Cooler, which really blows my mind actually. I mean, this guy is an entrepreneur, and the main story about this guy is that his first Kickstarter campaign had actually failed. He launched this Kickstarter campaign to release something called the Coolest Cooler, which is a cooler that stores, of course, your soft drinks, your beer, or whatever it is that you want to store in the coolers when you're going on a vacation. But he's integrated this idea with having a cooler and also a Bluetooth speaker, as well as a blender, and also areas within the cooler where you can store paper plates and things like that, and utensils, and I think it even comes with a ceramic knife. Pretty amazing. So what I really want to talk about, why this is really important, is because I want to talk about how this individual turned this failure and reversed it into a success. And it really talks to how determined this entrepreneur was. That in the outset of failure, he converted that failure to a massive success, where in November, when he first launched the product in 2013, he didn't get enough backing to be able to pay for the tooling that was required to get this project started and into mass production. And he came back 8 months later, 6 or 8 months later, he launched it, and is probably one of the largest funded products out there. So let's just go through a brief history of what happened to Ryan Grepper. So back in November 2013, he launched his project for the Coolest Cooler, and he had an ambitious goal of raising $125,000. And yet, I mean, just after a very strong start, he was able to secure quite a bit of pledges, but then at the end of the month, everything sort of tapered off, and he wasn't able to meet his target, and he was just shy. Well, I wouldn't say just shy. $125,000 was his target, and then he got about $100,000. So naturally, this really struck a blow to his confidence. He was upset. But the best part of this story is, what did he do after? I think most people, after working that hard on a project and putting that much time and investment, that much love, and that much belief in that what you have, would maybe even quit. You never know. Most people, after that, first of all, it takes a certain mindset to even do a project like this, of this scale. It's another thing that after you fail, you go back and say, what do I need to do to correct it and make something happen? So what happened was this. He went back, and about 6 to 7 months later, actually it's about 8 months, he relaunched in August 2014, and he's already secured $8 million. And he still has 20 days left to get this thing funded. Actually, everything's already funded, because he changed his goal to $50,000, and he completely blew way past it. Incredible. Simply incredible. So the next question you may be asking me is, great, so what? What does this have to do with drawing? And that's a good question. It's an excellent question. I'm going to tell you how it is related to it. And it's related in this way. If you believe in something, if you truly believe that you can make a difference to yourself, that you can grow yourself and be somebody, it takes a particular mindset in order for you to be able to do that. And in order to acquire that mindset, you have to train your mind to believe in the things that you want to do. So how do you do that? Well, I call this the driven maven attitude. And it incorporates the 4 Ds to success. And those 4 Ds are called drive, determination, discipline, and in our case, draw. So first off, let's talk about the Driven Maven's attitude. Now, before Driven to Draw was released, Driven Mavens was actually our main website, and I think a lot of you already know that. A lot of you have been following me now for the last couple of years, and we've now migrated to Driven to Draw, which is really still Driven Mavens is not dead. Obviously, Driven to Draw incorporates a lot of the attitude and the mindset to actually run the site and to be able to provide high valuable content and education out to the masses that are trying to learn new things about creativity. So Driven Mavens in itself, as far as the definition is concerned, well, driven, obviously, you know, is being motivated or being determined. And you're being determined to be able to accomplish something, or you're determined by a specific factor or determined by a specific feeling. Now, a maven is a trusted expert in a particular field. And it's that expert that wants to share his knowledge with other people so that they can also develop a certain amount of expertise and hopefully be able to share it with other people. That is what's called the Driven Maven attitude. So when I graduated from college, I actually didn't go to the best school for learning about automotive design. I went to a terrific school for engineering. I went to Purdue University and I finished my industrial design degree and then followed up with my engineering degree right after. Because as I discussed on the previous podcast episode, was my intent was to try to figure out how am I going to combine these two disciplines together. I wanted a holistic approach to be able to problem solve. Now, when I started working, it was very clear that I wasn't nearly as gifted as I thought was a gift as some of my colleagues who went to CCS or Art Center. And I felt that there's a problem with that. I've always believed that I could be that good. I always believed that if I put in the time and the effort and the focused effort to be this good or to be as good as some of the CCS graduates, all I needed to do was to commit some time and make sure that I was committed. Actually, you know what? I take that back. When I think about it, when I was in college, I used to think there's just no possible way I'm going to be that good. I was artistically inclined, though. I had enjoyed drawing in college. I mean, through my industrial design program, I enjoyed sketching when I was in high school. I was always kind of known as a class artist, but I never really developed it. I always took pride in being able to learn things on my own, and what I was missing was the very fact that even though you may have some raw talent, it needs to be cultivated. You need to take that raw talent, you need to be serious about it, and you need to grow that talent. And that just doesn't happen automatically. It takes a lot of focused effort in order for that to happen. So when I graduated and I started working in the design studio, I automatically felt that I'm not going to measure up to these guys. These guys are just phenomenal. These guys are trained to draw, to really, really draw. But I was always curious that what if I put my own effort? What if I was able to put my own effort and to be able to train myself, take some classes, and to put some more focused effort into developing my craft? So understand, I was already an industrial designer. I had an engineering background. I joined the studio and I wanted to improve my capabilities as a designer, an engineer, an artist, all the above. I was curious about it. And I was mad at myself that I didn't put enough of an effort back in college because when you go to a public school that's not focused on drawing, you get an education that is more or less well-rounded. And that's what some people look for. You take a bunch of classes that you probably don't even need, and then you get a well-rounded education in hopes that you know how you're going to use all that information. And in reality, you don't use any of that information at all. So that really sucks. So what I'm really trying to teach is that if I'm able to do it, to go back into wanting to learn something and put in the time and effort, then you can also do that. I'm nobody special. I'm just like you. I'm not some sort of superstar. I'm not somebody like the guys over in Hollywood that are drawing concept cars and concept vehicles, illustrations for the movie industry. I'm just you, and you are me. And I want you to understand that this is something that you can learn and something that you can develop, but you have to have the right attitude. So part of that journey was developing that attitude. And I spent quite a bit of time in my basement sketching day and night. Well, maybe not day and night because I was working full time, but I would go in the basement. Whenever I had free time, I would go there and I would sketch. And I would look and see what kind of improvement have I made. So I was very serious about it. I was focused and I knew exactly what I was looking for. And I'm going to tell you, it was really difficult. It wasn't very easy because I'm not any different than any of you. I had tons of terrible drawings. And I felt that I was actually slow. So as I started to cultivate that practice and to be able to put enough time and effort into it, I started over time see my skills grow more and more and more. And that's what started to help build my confidence. I mean, I tell you what, I still go back. I saved all my drawings because I really wanted to understand where did I start and how far along I came. And I wanted that to be a reminder to myself that I put in all this effort and I was able to accomplish exactly what I set out to do. And I want you to be able to do the same thing. And in order to do that, that's how I acquired the Driven Maven attitude and the 4 Ds to success. So let's start with the first one. D number 1, drive. So drive is having the ambition and the desire to be the best that you can be and to drive and push yourself for continuous improvement and excellence. Honestly, a lot of you are going to be very surprised with what you can accomplish on your own. I think we live in a system where we go to college, we learn a bunch of things, and we sort of get this tunnel vision approach where this is the way it has to be, and I'm only good at this, and I'm only good at that. But the fact of the matter is that if you focus and you put your mind into something, focused effort, practice, there is only one direction you can go, and that is to the top. And that's the attitude that you need to be able to cultivate and to build over time, because nothing comes easy. Success is never easy. Success takes time. It takes self-improvement. It takes investment into yourself, and it takes you having that drive and that ambition to want to get it. D number 2 is determination. Being determined means you don't quit no matter what. You have to be determined to realize your end goal no matter what the obstacles are. It doesn't matter whether it's a mental obstacle or if a physical obstacle. You have to keep marching forward. That's the whole point of being determined to accomplish a task. You see it to the end. You never quit. Even when the cards are down, or you feel you're not going to be able to make it, or you think that your drawings suck, they stink, they're no good, it doesn't matter, because the fact of the matter is you need to go through several crappy drawings to produce one good drawing. But as you do that, you're going to find that you're improving. And that's the whole point of the exercise, is to make sure you improve and build your confidence. All right, now D number 4, discipline. Discipline is the mental and structural foundation needed in order for you to maintain your drive and determination, the two above. So discipline allows you to set and meet your goals. You have to be, there's no real point in having all the drive and all the determination if you're not disciplined. you have to be disciplined in order for you to be able to act and have an action plan, and to keep track of that action plan and be able to act on it, and making sure that you're holding yourself accountable day after day after day. So if you're drawing and you say that, well, I've got a goal of 20 pages a day, which is pretty unrealistic, okay? Depending on whether you're a professional out there or not. But what you can do is set realistic goals. How many pages can you do in a half hour? How many can you do in an hour? And you set that pace, and you make sure that you're doing that every single day. And you keep track of a schedule, and you're making sure that you execute it, maybe even do a checkbox that I'd completed this today. Awesome. And then you just keep track of your progress. Now the final D is draw. Now the first 3 Ds that we talked about before is essential to anything that you want to be an expert in. Whether you want to be an expert in cooking, whether you want to be an expert in marketing, or whether you want to be an expert in pretty much any discipline that you are passionate about. Now, of course, draw, that's what I'm passionate about: ideating, drawing, sketching. But without the other 3 Ds, you can't accomplish that last discipline that you're focused on. So for drawing, you have to constantly practice. And that's what you're going to be needing if you want to be good at something. You have to practice. You have to make sure you're diligent about it, and make sure you put some sort of a schedule and stick to that schedule so that you can see the results. I think a lot of the times when I talk to youth, sometimes the younger folks just don't quite understand what it takes to get to that next level. Or perhaps they don't know exactly what they need to be practicing. Unfortunately, also, some of the things that we need to practice end up being very boring because they're fundamentals. And I think by nature, and this is for everybody, whether you're young and old, people always feel that they're going to run out of time, and that they need to be able to get it now. They need to be able to get the skill sets quickly without putting in the hard work. And that just doesn't happen. And for this very reason, I launched my own Kickstarter campaign way back in 2011 as a sort of a tribute to my own hard work, and to also showcase that other people can do it too. That you don't have to be the best of the best out there, but you should strive to be your best. You should strive for self-improvement all the time. So when I launched my Kickstarter campaign back in 2011 with the DVD set of How to Draw Cars Now, all this information, all this mindset was put in purposely into that insert booklet so that people always had that handbook, and it serves as a reminder for people to strive to be their best. That's a wrap on Driven to Draw. Just a couple things before you go. One, if you enjoyed this episode and found it useful, let me know your thoughts and provide me some feedback on iTunes. Just click on the link below on the show notes. I would sincerely appreciate it. It would mean so much to me. The second thing is, remember that I do believe in you. You can be creative if you set your mind to it. All you need to do is just try. Just creating a sketch every single day, spending 10-15 minutes a day, you're going to see your skills grow exponentially. Take that action. Peace out. I'll see you folks next time on Driven to Draw. Have a good one.